and Walgreens. And it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday to you. Welcome into Sports Daily. It is Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester. Max Powers with us producing. We are ready for your calls, your comments, however you want to send them in. Thanks for tuning in on KFH. 869-1240 is the number there. If you're on the video streams, 12 News Connected, Facebook, YouTube, X, you can leave us video comments. Or if you're listening to us on the Odyssey app, you can leave us voice messages. And thanks to those listening to us on the iHeart Radio Media app as well. Tommy, good morning. How are you?
Hey, happy Monday. Good to see you today. Busy day to get to on the show. We've got a big celebration to talk about here locally. We've got the Royals winning another series, getting that much closer to the first preseason game for the Chiefs. A lot to dive into on the show today.
We will. The Aftershocks get their championship. It's taken 6 years in front of the best crowd we've seen at Coke Arena in a long time, more than 9,000 there. It was electric. It was loud. We'll get into all of that. Just so good to see the Royals winning their series. We've got a preseason game this weekend. We've got all the drama of the NFL preseason and contracts and all of that making its way through. It's all What's on Tap, brought to you by Wichita Brewing Company, featuring free mini homemade root beer floats with any kids' meal purchase August 4th through the 8th. Starts today. A limited supply of WBC keepsake mini mugs will be given out. So hurry in today. WBC, it's pizza and root beer made here. We will get into all of it. Jaylon Thompson, our Royals insider, is going to join us as the Royals take a series against one of baseball's best teams on the road. And no rest for the weary. They continue right into it tonight in Boston. Another team they're chasing in the standings, trying to keep up with. It was a moderately busy sports weekend, Tommy. We'll have the settling of the Aftershocks being done here for a week or so. And then we're there, man. We're there. The calendar turned to August. We're a couple of weeks from college football. Like this is that time. You ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. K-State plays their first game in Ireland in less than 3 weeks. Kansas the same day. They play also and open up their season on the 23rd. So we've got, like you mentioned, college football coming up in just a couple of weeks from now. NFL preseason. I mean, we're right there, and I'm excited for it. We had kind of a cooler weather weekend, and so it kind of got me excited for fall. Kind of feeling a little bit of a chill in the air. So yeah, I'm right there. I'm ready to roll.
Let the dog out this morning. Yes, it definitely is brisk, I suppose, which is fantastic. Now it still gets really hot by lunchtime, but it is nice to get a feel of it. I got to tell you, I'm ready. My family's been gone. They come back tonight. I'm ready for them to be back. It's a real weird feeling to go. I don't know how many days that was, like 6-7 days, and you're just like, you work faster, and then you're like, okay, I'm done. Now what do I do? And we've got we got the dog and this kitten running around. This kitten's driving me up the wall right now. I'm like, I'm going to put this cat in the mail and send it to you guys if you don't get home and play with it. Because I don't have the energy for it anymore. Like, it's all yours when you get back. No, it's crazy. Like, what do you do for that many days when you get this routine of your family and you're like, I don't know how other people do it. I'd drive myself nuts.
Well, it's a good thing that we had a moderately busy sports weekend. A lot to
I
follow and keep track of.
I went down to the Aftershocks game yesterday. I got to tell you, and we'll talk about this later, but it was the best environment I've seen there. Rashard Kelly brought up the game they played against Cincinnati to try to win that championship when they first joined the American. There was a Houston game or two mixed in when Houston was still in the league and ranked really high that I would probably put up there. And then maybe that K-State game that rolled through. But it was as high as any of them. Like, it was Not just that it was packed, and it was packed, but the energy was palpable. It was so good to see it going like that, like it did for, I don't know how long. I mean, when I first got here in 14, I know it started before that, but that, it had about that 9-10 year stretch where it was just every time automatic, one of the best environments in college basketball.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely feel the energy, like even through the TV, like watching it on TV yesterday. I wasn't there, but watched it, and it felt like old school Coke Arena. It felt like old school Shocker basketball, and that nostalgia. I think that's a huge reason why the Aftershocks kind of rallied this community, not unlike the way that Shocker basketball used to do. And I know that there were only a handful of former Shockers that were on that roster, but it had that nostalgic feel to it. And they shattered records, right? Like attendance records for the TBT, like over 9,000, the highest attended championship game in the history of that tournament. And so, I mean, shout out to Shocker Nation, shout out to this community for getting out and supporting it. And I know that by and large, if you were to do an informal poll of everybody that was there at Coke Arena, I would say the majority of them were there because they wanted to feel Coke Arena the way that it used to feel, right? Like they wanted to have that feeling come to them again. And so I'm glad that it was able to pay off. I'm glad that the team won that championship just for the fan base to be able to experience that one more time.
Yeah, it was what it used to be. And you know what the encouraging thing, and this is the part we'll get into later, like it was a collection of players most of us didn't know before a couple of weeks ago. Yes, they had the 3 or 4, I suppose, former Shockers. But by the end of it, it was other names we didn't know before this tournament that took over and became fan favorites. And I'd say that's encouraging because that's sort of the nature of college basketball now, right? I think Shocker Nation and this community, as much as anything else, just showed to the university, like, transfers, like what doesn't matter. Like it's just winning basketball. That's it. Like there's something on the line. It's winning basketball. This was essentially a walk-up crowd, Tony. Like before Thursday, nobody even knew this game was happening.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
like
you're right.
You had 3 days to sell out essentially Coke Arena with a bunch of players. Nobody knew who they were in the middle of August, at the beginning of August. And they did it. And so I think when you see that, it becomes even more clear. If you win, they will come. And that's all the program lacks right now. Like you just have to have the wins consistently and give people a feeling that like you're playing for something meaningful and they want to show up and rock out like that. It was incredible.
Yeah, the number of times that I've heard over the last couple of years from people that I talked to, they say, well, I don't know any of the players anymore. Like it's not as fun because I don't know who they are. Who cares? It doesn't matter what's on the back of their jersey. It matters what's on the front of their jersey. And that's the important part. And I know that when you win and you have good performances and all of that, you start to know these players more. They become more household names. But to your point with the TBT, you had guys like Marcus Keene and Hammonds and, like Sabande, like these guys that nobody knew about 2.5 weeks ago. And they're now fan favorites because, again, it doesn't necessarily matter the name on the back of their jersey. It matters what's on the front and the colors that they're wearing. And so I'm with you, and I know we're going to get into it more, but that's the encouraging part to me as we start to look forward. And is there a way that Paul Mills and company can channel that and make it their identity moving forward? I hope so. I hope they can.
See this? You see what I'm dealing with here, Tommy?
Yeah, I see that cat.
Video stream just like came out of nowhere. Spider-Man. There's a cat if you're watching the video stream behind me. All right, we'll come back and we will talk Royals. They get another series win. Don't go away. More Sports Daily right after this.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
The canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
This is Rich Eisen. Check out The Rich Eisen Show, 11 until 2 on Wichita's #1 sports station, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now!
8310 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
KFH.
Summer Concert Series back in Wichita at NAFSCA Park this weekend. The series returns Friday, August 8th with Monterey Jack live on stage. Gates open at 6:30. Show starts at 8. Enjoy free live music, food trucks, and Friday night fun all summer long. You can find the full schedule at knssradio.com. Welcome back into Sports Daily. Aftershocks fans celebrating. We'll get to a little bit more on that in just a little bit later in this hour. First, though, let's start with the Royals. Another series win, Tommy. They just keep rattling them off. They're back to 500. All of the good things for the Royals right now. The roster is withstanding some injury, things that, with the pitching staff. We get to see Daniel Lynch back yesterday. Looked nice. Hunter Harvey back, looking good. They're starting to get healthy. They're starting to get hot. They were able to take the series. They get another 3-gamer against Boston here with no days off. And you feel good about it, right? And now I think, do we have an official? I think it's going to be, let me make sure just on the team website before I say this. It looks like we're going to get Bergert and we're going to get Falter. Yeah, Falter and Bergert will go in the first 2 games of this series, and then Michael Wacha. But so that's right now, those are the other 2 guys. Well, you ready to jump right into it? Because they're going up against 2 really good pitchers in Bello and Crochet to get into open up this series. And here we go. This is good stuff.
Oh, and by the way, Wednesday's game, it looks like they're going to throw Michael Wacha, who had the best start of the year for the Royals on Friday night. I mean, he was just a couple batters away from a complete game. It was really, really good. I think the most important part about this series for the Royals, especially Friday and Saturday's game, they were able to get a lot of distance out of their starting pitching in both Michael Wacha and Noah Cameron. The bullpen had been gassed with the games prior, like wrapping up that homestand against the Braves. They did a bullpen game with Zerpa starting, and then, and it was a really great outing for the Royals bullpen, and they won that game on Wednesday. But they really needed Michael Wacha and Noah Cameron on Friday and Saturday with that day off, going on the road to Toronto to be able to go the distance. And both of those guys did that. And I think that was really essential for them to be able to rest some of those bullpen pieces. And then you needed to use them more in Sunday's game. And they were fresh and rested and ready to go. So I think that was a really essential part of the reason, why the Royals had success over the weekend. I think that it's interesting that quietly the Royals have won 4 series in a row, and quietly they've gotten themselves back to 500 baseball. There's still a ways to go. They're still 3.5 back in the wild card, but they haven't fallen further behind, and they've taken 2 out of 3 in their last 4 series. And you're going to back it up now with another series against a team that is in front of them in the wild card standing. So, you can't let off the gas at all as you head to Boston today.
Well, no, you can't. And yesterday was so interesting too. I'm glad the bullpen piece of that, the rest and the importance of the rest and all those things, because Seth Lugo, for the first time in forever, doesn't give you 5 innings. And who would have thought that, right? And at the time, you're looking at it and you're like, really, Q? Like, we're going to pull Lugo before but he had walked, I think, 4 guys. Like, he just he wasn't quite as sharp. And so, I mean, obviously it was the right decision. I mean, they can turn it over like that. And that is a path. And of course they used Ursig hoping they could get the lead. And then they put in Harvey instead of going to Estevez, and put Estevez in the 10th, which I never know if I don't like him in the 10th inning, but anyway, they get him. And then you can kind of see this path, right? And that's pretty much the guys I think that they will lean on the heaviest: Schreiber, Lynch, Ursig, Harvey, Estevez, as they make their way down the stretch here. That's 5 guys, right, that you feel good about. I mean, Schreiber's ERA, Tommy, right now is essentially 3. I don't know if people realize he's been good this year. And then the others have all been really good. So it's just kind of a little sight into the ammo that this team has. This team has a bullpen that's as deep as any in baseball. Through the trade deadline, they've created a rotation that's pretty darn deep. We'll see when Lorenzen comes back. Who knows about Reagan's? But they've got these 2 guys now that they can just place in there. They've got all these reinforcements. You feel good about all of it. And the lineup is finally doing what we thought they'd do, mostly led by Salvi and Bobby Witt Jr., doing what we thought they were going to do this year and leading this turnaround.
Yeah, going back to the bullpen, though, the only negative is that Steven Cruz left the game on Saturday. He's on the IL now. He had what the team is calling a right shoulder impingement, and it was really weird because he threw a perfect pitch to Vlad Jr. Like it was, I think, a 99-mile-an-hour fastball that was placed perfectly, and that was the last pitch he threw. And then all of a sudden, Q takes him out, and you're like, what is going on? And turns out that he was dealing with shoulder discomfort, and so now he's on the 15-day IL. So you obviously you feel better about the fact that Hunter Harvey is now back up with the team, but you do lose another reliever there in Steven Cruz. That's about the only negative from a pitching perspective over the weekend. Jonathan India got hit by a pitch, and he left the game on Saturday. The good news for him is that the X-rays were negative, and he should be okay with that. But it was that recipe in the finale yesterday where they were really kind of struggling offensively and getting runs across. You had a sac fly from Mike Yastrzemski, and so you were able to get a run across there. But it didn't until you got to extra innings. The Royals really weren't able to kind of let the floodgates open and then be able to actually produce.
Yeah, they just had to get there, right? They just had to get to the extra innings, which was, I'm with you. I was like, oh, are they going to be able to do this? And then they put up the big spot, and Estevez comes in. It feels like the only time Estevez gives up runs or has a hard time is in that damn 10th inning when he starts with a runner on second. It's like he's just not. How many times has he pitched in extra innings this year? It's been a lot, and every time it's like his own. And I'm just like, stop using him there, Q. Like put him when it's going to be. I mean, you might have to, obviously, but just put him in a non-save situation in the ninth or whatever it is. They just keep winning. I think what we're Salvi's. I'm fairly confident this is Salvi the rest of the way. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be the best hitter every month, but I think he's back. And Bobby Witt Jr. has found his pop a little bit more. I mean, he leads the league in doubles, hitting 285, which is a drop from last year, but he was baseball's. Were you watching every time they put up his numbers with runners in scoring position?
I don't think I
the
saw
last
that,
couple
no.
of weeks. It is like his OPS is like 1.3. Like it's out of this. I mean, it's out of control good, which is, we talk about that clutch thing, right? That thing that they really struggled with all year long. There's an example of this team's better than that, right? This team is better than they've been. They played offensively until July. Like what was that? 4 months? Like we knew they were. They just, and now all of a sudden it's coming around, and we'll see. Look, there's still so much work to do in the wild card. Like it's going to be tough. Every team that they're essentially chasing for that, with the exception of Detroit, went out and actively got quite a bit better at the deadline. So they sit today 3.5 games back. Cleveland, I wouldn't say got definitively better. Texas, I don't think got quite a bit better, but a little bit. And the rest, it's probably not Cleveland, but I don't want to count them out until they're out. But it's Texas, Seattle, New York, Boston, Toronto, Houston could find themselves into the wild card spot. I don't know about Detroit. That little bit of hope we got with the Tigers. They're not bad anymore necessarily, and so you're still 8.5 games back of them. It's going to be tough. Even if they play really well all the way through the rest of the way, it's going to be tough. But it doesn't change anything about the last week and how happy I am that they went aggressive and they're doing this, because I think it's going to keep people locked in for a little while longer.
Well, and you're talking about a team that has, in the month of July, has looked like one of the better teams in Major League Baseball by basically all metrics, especially offensively. A team that had been one of the worst offenses in Major League Baseball prior to July is now one of the best offenses in Major League Baseball. It's streaky, as we've talked about multiple times, and the question then becomes, what version of this offense are we going to see down the stretch for the remaining, 52 games they have in the regular season? Which version of this Royals offense will we see consistently? Will it be the offense that we're currently looking at right now, or will they revert back to what we saw in May and in June when it was so frustrating and there was just that lack of a clutch factor and they were leaving runners stranded in scoring position. They couldn't get runs across the board. Yesterday's game, for the majority of the game, looked a lot like the previous Royals. But then again, in extra innings, they delivered when it mattered the most. So I'd like to think that, moving forward, we're going to see this continue with a team that's got reinforcements in the lineup now. They went and acquired a handful of guys to help them. I think Adam Frazier has been pretty good since the Royals brought him in from Pittsburgh. He's been really good. I think Randall Grichuk has looked pretty solid as well. It's a very small sample size, but Yastrzemski looks really good also. He's had a home run. He had a sac fly yesterday, drove in a run. So they needed offensive reinforcements, and there have been 3 guys that have come in that have been able to deliver at various points throughout the last couple of weeks, and that's been essential.
Well, and look, the offense is streaky, but it's more, maybe the floor has risen, like it's more consistent. You brought Frazier. I think he already has, I'm pretty sure they said this was on the broadcast yesterday, he has more at bats in the time that he's been here this year than the entire season up to this point last year when he was full-time player, because he was just kind of in a reserve role.
Yeah, I believe that.
But I think the floor to me seems higher. Yesterday was a really interesting game because it did feel like for just a second there, it was like some PTSD of when the Blue Jays took the 2-1 lead in the 5th. It did feel a little, it was like, uh-oh.
It did, yeah.
Like, uh-oh, are they going to be able to, but it's been a long time since that's really been the reality for the Royals offense, but it still kind of floats in the back of your head. Like, oh no, here we go. So let's just take a look here. How many games in the last, I don't know, I guess month maybe too long, but let's be more recent than that. They had a game in that series where they only scored 2. They had that weird bullpen game in Atlanta. Other than that, over the last 2.5 weeks, those are the only 2 where they haven't come out and scored at least like 4 runs. So we're kind of beyond that now, I think. At least in the short term. They're about to run into some good pitching in this series. So we'll see if they can do it. But, I think those are 2 separate things. If you're facing some ace and he comes out there and you're grinding it out to try and get 2 runs across, that's a little different than just being completely anemic as they were most of the season. I think we're beyond that. The latter there. I think we're beyond them just being a flat bad offense. I think this is an average offense that will streak its way through, weeks probably at a time. But the floor to me feels like it's risen quite a bit.
Yeah, and the fact that in yesterday's game, it was late in the game. I think it was in the 8th when the Royals were able to get that tying run across the board. Yeah, the top of the 8th. And the fact that it really came from, Bobby Witt Jr. sort of setting the table and then Vinny Pasquantino driving him in. And that's what we need to see. We need to see those guys in the lineup in clutch situations, in late inning situations, be able to deliver. And they did. They were able to get that tying run across when there have been multiple times where it hasn't mattered who is coming up in late game situations when the Royals have been down. You don't feel overly confident that they're going to be able to deliver and be able to at least tie a game. And they did that yesterday and be able to force it to go to extras. And, Tyler Tolbert had a really big hit in the 10th inning yesterday. And
he's had, that's been a couple of times this year.
He's been there. He's been able to do that. Kyle Isbell delivered as well in extras. And so really, as long as the Royals were able to get a spot at the table, be able to extend it 2 extra innings, at that point they delivered in the 10th. And but it was all set up by the clutch performances in the 8th inning. And it's been a pleasant surprise to see the way the Royals have been able to come around in clutch situations in the late game over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, that 8th inning felt like last year. Bobby Witt Jr. double, Vinny Pasquantino just knocks him in. No big deal. Piece of cake, right? That's the way they played a lot last year. One more thing on the bullpen. Lynch looked really good to me. I was listening to the first piece of it, then I actually did make it back to a TV to catch the end of it. That is a pretty big development for them, I think. It gives you the handedness back. You can utilize him as a lefty if you need to. But if they can shorten these games up like that, like they had to yesterday, and they're not going to have to do that all the time. They obviously didn't in the first 2 games of the series. But if they can have that element of we're gonna take these games and we're gonna shrink them. That is the Royals of a decade ago. But man, that to me, that's so valuable. They're gaining different ways to beat you. For 4 months, this team beat you one way. They were going to outpitch you in the starting rotation. Now they still have that, maybe to a lesser degree, slightly, I'll admit, but they also will shrink the game on you because they've gotten 2 high-end, high-leverage relievers back in there. And we have the offense finally that when we do shrink the game on you, like it feels, if you can do it right, it gets into one of those things. And we're a little further from this, but as we go along and potentially toward a postseason, we get 9 innings to score, you get 5 innings to score. Good luck. That's what it felt like in 14 and 15. And I do think this bullpen has a chance to recapture some of that, if not all of it, with what they have healthy now, finally, for the first time, healthy on the back end of that bullpen. I mean, they have basically 5 setup guys and a closer that you feel good about.
Just take a look at yesterday's game. I mean, the bullpen pitched more than half of the game. And when you take out Estevez, and if you look at just the regular 9 innings, I mean, half of the game was Seth Lugo. The other half was split up among Schreiber, Harvey, Ursig, and Lynch. And all 4 of those guys looked really good and didn't give up any runs. And when you know that you can have guys throw clean innings and sort of shut down innings, then that is a little bit of a different situation. If the Royals are down 1 in the late innings and you know that the back end of your bullpen can lock down the opponent to where the deficit will stay at 1, it doesn't feel as insurmountable for the offense to overcome that. If it starts to kind of get away from you a little bit and you're down 2, you're down 3, you're down 4, and you've got bullpen pieces that are consistently giving up a run here, a run there, then it becomes that much taller of a mountain for the offense to climb. And that's really, it's not really the way that the Royals offense is built. But I do think that there was a part of the game yesterday, like in the 8th inning, where probably Bobby Witt Jr. and Vinny Pasquantino thought, all right, we're only down 1. We literally only need 1. And then from there, it's a brand new ball game. And I think that sort of confidence is built because you now know that the back end of your bullpen is pretty rock solid.
It's as good as any in baseball, to be quite honest. We'll have it. The Royals play tonight, 6 o'clock. Jaylon Thompson will join us in the next hour to discuss as well. When we come back, how about what happened at Koch Arena yesterday afternoon? We'll talk about it next.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
The canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
This is Rich Eisen. Check out The Rich Eisen Show, 11 until 2 on Wichita's #1 sports station, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
310-1 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here. Celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into the jungle weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Royals baseball right here on KFH tonight at 6:30. It's the Royals in Boston facing the Red Sox. Tune in to 97.5 and 1240 for Royals baseball, or listen online at kfhradio.com. Download the free Odyssey app and search for KFH. We're going to switch off the Royals now and get into the Aftershocks last night. Winners of $1 million. Finally, they get it done. After 6 years, a lot of those years coming so close. All the big crowds they've had, all the fun we've had with the TBT, the beauty of the Elam ending, all of it comes to a fever pitch yesterday at Koch Arena in front of 9,000 plus. And again, one of the more electric environments I've seen in the last 7-8 years. It was so much fun just to feel it It's as loud as any place I've been. I don't know how that is, but the design of it, like whatever it is, Coke Arena, when it gets going, is as loud and electric as anywhere you go. And it is so fun when it's going like it was going yesterday, when the fans are always just locked in and engaged. And, I could look throughout the crowd and see people I knew that, Tommy, they're not Shocker fans. They didn't go to Wichita State. None. It's just a community thing. And the Aftershocks have always proven that. And then you get the diehard Shocker fans who are just wanting, some Shocker lore and everything else. It's a perfect setup and a perfect window into what can be, what should be for Shocker men's basketball. It took a random tournament in the summertime to capture the attention of everybody. And between a Thursday and a Sunday, they sell 9,000 tickets to get in there and watch a team full of players they didn't know about 2 weeks ago. There it is, right? Like everybody wonders, like, oh, I don't know if it'll ever get back. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it can. And again, well, are they really going to get back when they're playing, the American, like they were playing Eberline Drive yesterday. Okay. Like all it will take is winning. It doesn't matter who they're playing. It doesn't matter who the players on the floor are. None of that matters. People just want to go out and watch a team playing for something. And they haven't been for a long time.
I know it's extremely cliche, but you go back to Field of Dreams. Like if you build it, they will come. Bottom line, that's Wichita. That is this community. It's the way this community always has been. If you've got something that has a little bit of electricity behind it,
a little juice,
just a little bit, people will take it and run with it. And, it takes that little spark, and then all of a sudden it becomes a wildfire and it grows and it builds. And that's what makes this city special. I've always believed that. And, to your point, we saw that on a Sunday afternoon in early August for, let's just face it, an exhibition tournament. Like that's what the TBT is. No knock on the TBT. Like I was locked into it as well. And there was a lot of money on the line. And obviously the stakes were high. But at the end of the day, the TBT is an exhibition tournament. It's with players that are, they want to compete to win $1 million. But for a lot of cases, like it's guys just wanting to get together and play basketball again. And that's what the TBT is at its core, at its heart. And for the longest time, you had the Aftershocks that were always competitive. They were winning games. They were finding their way a little bit deeper into the tournament. But the people that were showing up to Coke Arena to watch them play, a lot of times are like basketball junkies, like basketball diehards that, are going out and they're watching this exhibition tournament. It's a little bit of a novelty. It had been for a while, especially with the Elam ending and all of that. That's kind of grown over time to be a lot more universally accepted. But for the longest time, it was kind of a novelty. But then all of a sudden, you have this kind of catching lightning in a bottle with this team that has been around for a long time, a little bit of a new look Aftershocks, and they catch that fire. They have that spark. And then all of a sudden, the people start rallying around them. And before you know it, you have a championship game in Wichita at Coke Arena with the Aftershocks. And it was electric. And it reminded me of the way that Coke Arena had been basically every game for a stretch of probably 10 years.
Yeah. And look, it's them winning. And Patricia brings up a good on our Facebook feed that it was, reasonable ticket pricing as well. I don't know what they were running tickets at. They had been earlier in the tournament, $10 to $15. I'm not sure, but that has something to do with it. But honestly, that again, like it's all relative, right? Yeah, maybe the tickets were a little less expensive, but I think if you had, the Shockers at the top of the American bringing in North Texas, who's pretty good on a Thursday night or whatever it is, I think you could get the same thing real quick. It's just the problem the Shockers have had the last handful of years. Whether it's a slow start in conference, but whatever it is, it's like, oh, this team's not going to be any good. And once you lose that momentum, like once you lose that confidence that this could be a special year, it comes crashing and burning down. Like, it changes everything. The aftershocks we have known from the beginning of the tournament, because we've seen it for enough years, they're going to have a chance to win this tournament. They always do. They've been very close before. You also have the motivation of, like, if you show up, they're going to be able to host these games. They do a lot of special. They don't want to take anything away from the TBT because they do a hell of a job getting people excited and showing up for their tournament. They do an incredible job, in fact. If you'd have told us 6 years ago that the TBT would be this massive draw every summer and all these things, we'd have laughed at you. You'd be like, well, what's the TBT? Which is kind of what we thought in the beginning. And then all of a sudden it's become a part of the community now. But I think that the difference is, to Patricia's point on the ticket pricing, is that's big time college basketball, right? So if it's a $20 ticket instead of a $10 ticket or whatever, I do think people will be motivated and okay to do that, because you like, there's a tangible sense of accomplishment when they're playing these individual games. Right now, you come in, January, February, and you're in 7th place in the American, just kind of trying to scratch and claw your way back to the middle of the pack. Like, that's a hard thing to get casual fans excited about. At that point, it's like, yeah, okay, I'll watch that game on TV or whatever. But when it means something, it just is that, especially at that arena, it just feels like something special every time. So they just have to climb back to that point. And the reality is, too, like, you look in that environment, Tommy, like, and it is, we say this all the time, it's chicken and the egg. But if you could capture that environment for just a year, you don't think they're going to all of a sudden, like, just explode into the recruiting scene and do some special things? They'll make a bunch of money, which now matters, right? And now that's now translating directly into, the players that you bring into the program.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think that as you relate this back to Shocker men's basketball, that they're doing a lot of what they can do to try to recapture that. And at the end of the day, all that matters is what happens on the court and what happens from opening tip to the final buzzer. That's the most important thing. But the ancillary items, like Patricia's point about reasonable ticket prices, I think I read that season tickets are the lowest that they've been in 15 years going into this season. Like, they're making attempts to try to make it a little bit more accessible for people. And I understand, like, you have all of this success over time and prices are going to climb. Like, that's just kind of the nature of the beast. Now, ticket prices are starting to go down again because we haven't seen that level of sustained success over the last few years. So, like, they're attempting to do different things. I know the fan experience is really, really important for Wichita State and trying to make that better. Yeah, the concessions and the amenities and all the different things that go into that. It's more than just the game, but at the end of the day, it is just about the game. And so you've got to make sure that if there is any way that you can bottle up that environment, bottle up that energy, and use it going into this season. I know that you told me yesterday that you saw Paul Mills in the tunnel, and he was there, like, congratulating the players from the Aftershocks. Like, I'm sure that he was there and thinking, like, man, I want this for my program. I want this as we play basketball games this upcoming season. That's easier said than done. But at the end of the day, at the same time, it can get back to that. I hope it does. I would give anything for Koch Arena to get back to that consistently.
Well, we all would. That was the same. Everybody I talked to last night as I was walking out, and there were a few listeners and everybody like, this is great. Like, everybody would give anything to get that back. I talked to my wife about that all the time. We moved into this community and we loved nothing more in those early years of living here than trying to find a way to go to a Shocker game. I had to work a lot of them, but when I didn't, it was like, hey, we should figure out a way to go. Like, we should go. It became our favorite thing to do for, whatever that is, 3 or 4 months out of the year, was figure out a way to try to go to Shocker games. We had a blast. We still have a blast when we go, by the way. We do. Like, we have a great time every time we go to a Shocker game. It's just not the same, though, when it's not packed to the brims. And so that's what you want back, right? Like, it's always a fun environment. It's such a beautiful and great arena, but it's different when it's like it was yesterday, when it's packed and people are fired the flip up for what's happening.
And I'm not trying to knock TBT. TBT is great.
I don't know if that was an exhibition game. They were playing for $1 million, but
you know what I'm saying, though.
Yeah,
like
I do. It's a non-college basketball game. Sure. But there is a difference in the experience when you get it like it was yesterday versus just being there, which is always good. I do maintain it's one of the better places to watch a basketball. It just is. It's set up that way. Even when it's not full, it's fun. It's always loud. Not like yesterday where you can't hear yourself think, but it's always fun. But it's different. It's different when it's like that. And it's been a long time since we've seen it like that. And let the TBT. This is the point, I think, for everything. For Wichita State, hopefully boosters, but whatever else, like it doesn't take much to get it there. Nobody knew they'd be playing for $1 million. They had good crowds in every one of those games. That place was at least half full. Okay. Like it doesn't take much. They sold it out between a Thursday and a Sunday. We didn't even know before Friday morning, essentially, that there was going to be a game there on Sunday. And they sold it out. It doesn't take much to recapture it, but they've got to win basketball games. And the pressure's on this year. It's year 3. It's a new roster, all of those things, but the pressure's on to try and get some of that back. Like you can't sit there and watch that as a Shocker fan and see it happen with the TBT and not have some urgency to get that back on a regular night for Koch Arena.
And going back to the actual championship game, I mean, Marcus Keene was lights out. I mean, he was fun to watch the entire TBT. Hammonds looked really, really good. He made a couple of really big shots. Nike Sabande brought a ton of energy. But just a special congratulations and shout out to the OGs, to the Connor Frankamps and the Marcus McDuffies and Rashard Kelly, Trey Wade, and then Zach Bush and his entire staff. Like, these guys, they were Shocker basketball. They embodied Shocker basketball and had been in this tournament year in and year out, gotten close a couple of times, never able to get it over the hump. Now they're all cashing in, and I couldn't be happier for them.
And they're all sleeping in this morning. Big shout out to those guys. Absolutely. They have provided this community something in the summer that none of us ever saw coming, and they've done it for a long time, and it was a blast. Hopefully they'll do it again next year. Because it's too much fun. It's too much fun this time of year, so we're waiting for football to have it. We'll come back. We got another hour of Sports Daily. Don't go away. It's all Brockton Caster. Keep it right here.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
This is Rich Eisen. Check out The Rich Eisen Show, 11 until 2 on Wichita's #1 sports station, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
310-1 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here. Celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into the jungle weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is another hour of Sports Daily here. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor with you, rocking and rolling the day after the Aftershocks win $1 million. Hope they're partying hard last night and recovering this morning. They earned it, certainly. They deserved it, all of it. We will get you ready for it. We will have Jaylon Thompson, our Royals insider, coming up a little later this hour as well. We'll talk some Chiefs football in this hour. A lot of days of training camp happen with a lot of little nuggets of information that pop out. So we'll get into all of that and some of the other NFL headlines that have been ongoing throughout the weekend. It's all What's on Tap, brought to you by Wichita Brewing Company, featuring free mini homemade root beer floats with any kids meal purchase August 4th through the 8th. A limited supply of WBC keepsake mini mugs will be given out, so hurry in today. WBC, it's pizza and root beer made here. Speaking of drinks, let's give away some HTO right now. The all-new Fizzy Refreshers, these are energy refreshers, are launched, Tommy. You can, in fact, get them with or without energy, but they're bubbly. They've got carbonated water in them. The lemon lav, a lavender-based drink, and the desert pear, they're both really good. I've tried them. So get in there and sample those maybe a little bit, or just grab one while you get your free iced tea on us right now by texting the keyword tea to 20357. That'll get you a free iced tea right now at HTO, East Wichita, West Wichita, or in Derby. Good luck, everybody. You can enter once per day message, and data rates may apply. All right, we come back in, Tommy, and we've been talking baseball. We've been talking Aftershocks. It's a busy time. You and I actually caught some SummerSlam last night. When was the last time you watched a little wrestling?
It's been a long time. It was fun though. Like I don't know everything that's going on. I mean, I recognize John Cena, obviously, but I can't call myself like a major WWE fan, but it was fun to get together and watch SummerSlam.
I don't know this. I don't watch it either anymore, like on a regular basis. So I also don't know the storylines, but I've always said that's one of the beauties about pro wrestling is you don't really have to. They're very good at what they do, and they can establish who's the good guy and who's the bad guy right out of the gates for you, and make it easy on you. That was fun. I try to watch like the big ones, like because my kids, and I don't know why I haven't done this more, but like we watch, I forget which one was the first one. It's like the Royal Rumble, or maybe it was even WrestleMania, whatever it was where John Cena turned bad. That was the first one I watched with the kids.
I think the Royal Rumble, I believe.
So we watched that, and they don't know anything either. They've never heard of any of these guys, and they locked in. They knew who John Cena was somehow, and they locked in. And then when he turned bad, they're just like, what just happened? And then the next one was, I don't even remember, the Elimination Chamber, I think. And so I watched that with them, and everybody picked a wrestler at the beginning, and then they came in and we all watched it together. So I'm like, this is actually kind of fun. They don't know anything about any of it. And it's what's funny is the one that locks in the most is the one I would think would lock in the least of my kids. And so now I'm like, we just need to watch the pay-per-views, like watch the big events. We're not going to watch it on a weekly basis, but if we could just lock into that and just treat it, like that, I think it would be fun. And it was. And so I'll have to go back and watch some of that with them.
It's so much more mainstream, I feel like, now than it used to be. Like I remember when you and I were teenagers, like I watched it with my buddies sometimes, but you also didn't really go and broadcast it that you liked watching it. Like it wasn't overly cool,
I did, but that doesn't mean it was overly cool.
You grew up in a different way. Like you were best friends with like a legendary wrestler. Yeah. But like it wasn't the cool thing to go and do. You kind of did it behind the scenes. You kind of watched a little bit of it, dabbled in it. Nowadays, like it is totally mainstream, and you've got ESPN covering it. I saw like on TV just a little bit ago, they were recapping the Logan Paul match. Like it's way mainstream now compared to the way it used to be.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, you see like pro athletes in there all the time because everybody grew up with it, whether you admit it or not. You liked it when you were a kid. I mean, it's impossible to be, especially a young boy, and not get caught up in the drama of it. It was fun. Yeah. That was a good time last night. It's a lot of fun. Tommy, have you been playing any golf? We were out at Crestview. Thanks to Crestview Country Club for supporting this show. We love it. We played, was that Friday? My days are running together without my family.
Friday. Yeah.
Those trees are coming down. It's interesting. Like if you have played out there and you haven't in a little while, you got to get out there because it's just like it looks very, very different. Very different. I talked to a couple people who went and played after we did, and they said the same thing. So get out there, call Crestview, take a tour of the facilities and eat lunch, talk them into it at the restaurant. We had those new menu items. Everything I've had so far, really, really good. It's been a while since they've done that. So give them a call. We appreciate their support of the show as well. Tell them we sent you here. I see Todd who does this. Give Todd a call. He was giving a tour while we were in there having a beer after our round of golf. But go check that out as well. Real quick, let's just give everybody a brief recap on what we talked about there in the first hour, and then we'll dig into the Chiefs in the next segment. But you had the Royals win another series. They begin a huge one against Boston tonight. Tommy, the urgency on these doesn't let up. That's the problem. Yeah, after this, they get a day off, and then Minnesota, or the former shell of Minnesota, maybe we should say. But if they come right into this Boston series with it's a 6-10 first pitch, I'm fired up for it. Man, I thought that Blue Jays series was fun. There's no rest here. Like, you are right back into the thick of things today.
Yeah, and you got to jump in and try to get Bello early, and he's been pretty good this season. An ERA slightly over 3, but you've got the debut of Bailey Falter, and so he's been pretty solid this season in his tenure with Pittsburgh. So this will be his debut in a Royals uniform, but you've got to get game number 1 because you know who's waiting in the wings in game 2, and that's Garrett Crochet. Crochet has been phenomenal this year, and he's been phenomenal for quite a while, obviously. A ton of strikeouts. He's going to strike out a number of guys tomorrow, I would anticipate, because he always does. 175 strikeouts on the season for Garrett Crochet, a 12-4 record. His ERA is slightly over 2. He's been the ace of that Red Sox rotation. And so knowing that you've got him on Tuesday night, you've got to get game number 1 tonight. And then you look ahead to Wednesday, and the former Dodger, Dustin May, is on the hill for the Red Sox. And he hasn't been phenomenal this year, but he's a veteran, and he's been around for a long time. So it's going to be a challenge. The Royals have a streak of 4 consecutive series of winning those series on tap here. Like, it's at stake. They've got to get 2 or 3 if they want to have 5 series in a row that they've won. But you've got to get game number 1 tonight against Bello.
We'll see about that game. We'll have Jaylon Thompson in to preview it a little bit in about 30 minutes from now. And then we had the TBT last night, Tommy, and we talked about Koch Arena and the environment at length in the last segment. That was, I think, the great takeaway. The game itself was good. I thought, listen, in true Wichita State basketball fashion, we can give the refs a hard time. It was getting a little out of control there in the second half, some of the foul calls. One of the beauties, and I tell people this all the time, one of the great things about the TBT is they let them beat the hell out of each other. They don't call ticky-tack. And then all of a sudden for half of the, for about the third quarter, they're just like, they're getting real ticky-tack and foul calls. I'm like, what is happening here? Like, why are we doing this? Otherwise, I think the Aftershocks would have beat them by more than they did. But it was good. Like that, Keene is probably everybody's, favorite non-shocker now, but he scored like 4 points in the second half. Like everyone thought, like he had a great first half and he was feeling it. He wasn't much of an offensive factor, late in the game until he hit the game-winning free throws, of course. But that's when other guys took over, and a credit to all of them. And it was a balanced attack again for the Aftershocks. I was so impressed with the way Connor Frankamp played. He steadied the ship. He is such a shoot-first guy, which is what he's always known for. But man, you want to talk about a team guy in that environment. Rashard Kelly got in foul trouble. I thought was really good too. But it was good to see all of it again. Total combined effort. That's what made this team good. And maybe they'll run it back. Maybe. Keene said after the game, if they'll come back, he'll come back with them. But it took 6 years for them to get to this point. It's a big commitment. Maybe they will.
Yeah, it really is. And I thought that, outside of the foul calls that were pretty egregious down the stretch,
they were getting
the Aftershocks would have completely ran away with the ball game had it not been for the whistle in the second half. But other than that, they turned the ball over too much. And especially early in the game, like in the first half, they turned the ball over too much. And that kept Eberline Drive in the game in the first half. Then it was the foul calls in the second. But for a team that had not shot the 3 well throughout the tournament, they were pretty locked in yesterday's game. They shot from long distance really, really well, especially Marcus Keene, especially in the first half.
Yeah, it was so much fun. So proud of them. Congratulations to the Aftershocks. When we come back, let's talk a little football. We get 3 days worth of Chiefs football to talk about and digest and understand, and then we'll take you around the rest of the NFL storylines as well. Stick with us. We're rocking and rolling on a Monday here on Sports Daily.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes. flooded. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message, so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
This is Rich Eisen. Check out The Rich Eisen Show, 11 until 2 on Wichita's #1 sports station, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
831001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here. Celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into the jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily here on KFH. We are glad to be with you and give you a chance to win a trip to see Zach Brown Band, Love and Fear, live at the Sphere in Las Vegas this December, including a 2-night stay in a suite at the Venetian Resort Las Vegas, the only hotel directly connected to Sphere. It's easy to enter the national contest for a chance to win a trip to the show. Download the Odyssey app and listen to KFH for at least an hour. You can learn more at odyssey.com/Zach, thanks to the Messina Touring Group. We come back in, and we are ready to talk some football. Tommy, it's preseason week. It's game 1 week. We begin the conversations probably after today, I would guess, on how much that Andy Reid should play guys. I don't think he's gotten into that just a whole lot yet, but that's probably the question that will come today. And then we can, you and I can sit here and argue about whether guys should play or not for a while, but we'll get into that later. The weekend, most of the interesting stuff right now is coming from where we thought it would come. What happens at tackle? It feels like it's going to be Simmons. It feels like it's going to be Simmons. It kind of sounds like it's going to be Simmons, I think. The bigger question is becoming a little bit like what's going to happen at right tackle. Jaylon Moore, I think, is getting reps on the interior because he was asked about his comfort level at left guard. So I think that tells you, like, all of these things are telling us that it sure looks like the plan is to go with Simmons at left tackle from day one.
Yeah, Andy Reid said as much over the weekend. He said that Simmons would continue to get first-team reps. There's really nothing at this point to indicate that he doesn't have a solid lock on being the starting left tackle. The only thing would be if there is a setback with his health, and that looks unlikely. It looks like he is good to go, and that's the best case scenario. That's what the Chiefs could have hoped for when they drafted him back in April, was that he would be able to break camp and start the season with them as the starting left tackle, and it looks like things are on pace for that. On the right tackle side, it was interesting to hear from Jawan Taylor that he was dealing with a knee injury for most of last season, and that he should be good to go going into this year, had to get it scoped out and all of that. But, it does look like they're going to continue to ride with him at right tackle, and Jaylon Moore can be kind of that flex piece, can kind of bounce wherever he's needed, whether that's at left guard or right tackle. If there's any kind of setback health-wise with Josh Simmons at left tackle potentially, but he's kind of that Swiss Army knife. At least it looks like that's the way the Chiefs want to utilize him.
And that's the best utilization of any of them, right? Is they have so much depth that guys need to learn how to do everything. I don't know what that means for Kingsley Suamataia. If that's not working, or if he's not going to be, like, he may just not start, and that's okay too. It doesn't really matter. It just, you want the best guys in there. The question is and has always been, and I've listened to national guys. It's really interesting, Tommy, to catch the narratives around what the Chiefs are doing this offseason when people are looking at it from far away versus the people that kind of follow along every day. And I'm not blaming those people at all. It's impossible to follow every team that closely every day. We, with the Chiefs, obviously do, but there's a belief right now. Like, I don't recall where I heard it, but it was whether it was Infinity or somewhere on ESPN or something. And like the thought was, yeah, they've got to make up for the losses on the offensive line. They lost Joe Thuney. We don't know. And I'm like, boy, if they're worse on the offensive line, that's going to be a big problem. They're not. They shouldn't be. Even with the loss of somebody as great as Thuney, Thuney wasn't playing the position he was great at playing most of last year. He was trying to just give them a respectable left tackle. He couldn't even play the position he's good at last year. So I think that's a really, they have a chance to sneak on people early, because I don't think people understand how much they've reworked the line. Yes, they kept Trey Smith. Yes, they already have Creed Humphrey. We know that part, but all the rest of it is kind of in flux, and all the rest of it should be better. But I don't think people understand quite how much has gone into this line in this offseason with all the different moves that are made. It shouldn't be that they're trying to get back to what they were last year. They need to be significantly better than they were last year. in the pass block.
I actually don't fault that national narrative. There are national narratives where, like people will say things that are just outlandish and ridiculous about the Chiefs, but I don't blame that particular national narrative because it's impossible to really know the inner workings of that offensive line unless you're following it every single day. And just at first glance, like if you're only looking at it from a 30,000-foot view, yeah, they lose an all-pro in Joe Thuney. And yeah, they lock up Trey Smith, but they lose an all-pro in Joe Thuney. They draft an unknown. And I know that Josh Simmons is just a dynamic talent, but if you don't know him and you don't know him working back from that injury, you drafted a rookie at left tackle, a position that was a complete liability a season ago for this team. And it's a guy that is working his way back from a massive injury. And then on the right side of the line, on the right end, you've got the most penalized lineman in the NFL. And so, yeah, like if you don't know any better, if you're not actually following training camp day in and day out and the progress of the way that they've wanted to rework that line, I don't blame that national narrative whatsoever, because it does look like at first glance that the offensive line has actually gotten worse. And I think you and I both know that that's not reality. That's not the case. But at first look, at first glance, yeah, I can see why that would be the narrative.
I mean, they traded away Joe Thuney. Joe Thuney's a Pro Bowler every year. I get it. But I don't fault anybody either, because I couldn't tell you what's happening on the offensive lines of 90% of the NFL.
Like that's a thoughtful narrative as compared to like Patrick Mahomes is going to take another step back this year. Like that's But that actual opinion,
yes,
like I understand it. Like if you're looking at it from a distance,
because it's based on the fact that they traded away Joe Thuney, right? And but what that narrative doesn't consider, or probably even realize that was happening last year, just like we don't about probably 29 of the other teams in the NFL and what they're doing in their offensive line rotations, is that Joe Thuney wasn't playing left guard last year anyway. They had to move him to left tackle, where he was okay. A little less than okay, probably, because he was having to try to fill the gap out of position. That people don't it's just like when and I know they've had some injuries and things, but it's just like with the Chiefs this year for me, like and we'll see what happens with Rice, but I'm so convinced they're going to be better offensively this year than they were a year ago, because they were so bad a year ago and they were so injured a year ago. And we forget that kind of stuff. All we remember about the Chiefs offense, and I'm talking about if you aren't following it as closely as we do every day, is that, yeah, Patrick Mahomes threw more interceptions than normal, and he got sacked a bunch, and they couldn't really run the ball. And you just kind of remember that. But we don't remember is they didn't have Rashee Rice for basically the entire season. They didn't have Hollywood Brown for basically the entire season. They were having to go do crazy things like trade for DeAndre Hopkins to try to piece this thing together, relying on a rookie. Travis Kelce had taken it. Like now, they didn't have to go do anything to get better. They just are healthy, right? They just finally have these guys back in the room, and we'll see. I can't believe we still don't have the Rashee Rice. I thought we'd have it by now. I don't know what to make of that, but they're just like, it's just like the offensive line. Like they just should be better if you just follow along, even though none of it's been splashy. Simmons will look splashier. If he's as good as we think he could be, that will feel splashier later in the year, but not yet, because he was a guy people kind of forgot about in the draft. If he comes out and is, as good as he looks like he could be and doesn't allow a sack, and all of a sudden that offense is humming and it's like, oh man, Mahomes is never getting then we'll start to talk about that. But it's mostly just the same guys actually being on the field this year.
That's a key point. And you mentioned the Rashee Rice situation. For me, a bigger storyline right now that came out of the weekend is, what's the health of Hollywood Brown, and when will he be available? Andy Reid gave an update over the weekend about Hollywood Brown, and it was,
he said he's making progress. It's in that ankle area. We just want to make sure it's right. We'll see. It's not serious, he did say. And he said, but when I say serious, I'm talking about surgery. It doesn't look like he's going to have surgery, but we got to let it heal up.
I don't like that update. I don't either. I don't like that at all. I mean, because we're not talking about just like he's good, he'll be back. Like it's like, well, it's not serious. So he's not going to have surgery, but we have to progress. Like, it just is really kind of like uncertain. Even if he is healthy, even if he does get healthy at some point during the preseason, I don't want to see him on the field at all.
No, and you
At
won't.
all.
I mean, Andy Reid's setting that up right now. Like
Yeah.
and the difference between, and we spent way too much time on it last year. The difference between that, he had the full season. He had the end of the season to get out on the field. He's had all the offseason camps and works.
Right.
He'll be fine now if he doesn't play. And it opens the door, and this may not be the worst thing in the world for Jalen Royals, who is kind of becoming the darling of camp a little bit. It's kind of been Simmons and it's been Royals, but Royals is just like, we know Mahomes has been impressed with him. Reed has been impressed with him. Maybe he can come along more quickly than some of the other rookies have been able to. He's always been, when they drafted him, you're like, yeah, that's a good fit. But let's hope so, because what became, again, like this really deep room, Hollywood's got an injury concern. Rice is going to get suspended at some point. Worthy's been in concussion protocol. So it's like you're down to like Juju and Royals and Kelsey, right? Like all of a sudden, again, we're like, well, crap, here we go again.
And
with
Worthy.
This group.
And Worthy.
But he's got a concussion, right? Like, I mean, but like, who hasn't dealt with something in this off season? It's Juju and a rookie and Kelsey. Like, that's it. And so it's like, okay.
I'm okay with, when we get into the preseason games, I know starting this weekend and beyond, you're probably going to see a lot of Tyquan Thornton. You're probably going to see a lot of Nico Remigio. You're probably going to see a decent amount of Sky Moore if he's healthy. I know he's been dealing with an injury as well. Like, you're not going to see the premier guys. And
don't you want to see a little bit of Royals? I do.
Yeah,
I'd love to see him run with the ones.
Royals, I think Royals is a part of that as well. But you've got to kind of put some of these other guys, you got to wrap them in bubble wrap a little bit here for the preseason. It's not worth it at this point for Worthy, who's dealing with a concussion. And I know Rashee Rice is healthy right now, but who knows what his situation is going to look like.
You just want him to get suspended now. Just suspend him now so we can know and they can know, right? I don't know how do you speed up that process if you're the Chiefs? How do you go to the NFL and be like, yo, can you suspend him, please? Can we get this over with?
You can't. The NFL has, they call it their expedited disciplinary process. And that's what they're in the middle of. But I mean, you're dealing with a league source here with all of this. I don't think you can, if you're the organization, the NFL is going to move at their pace.
Nothing in this one is so weird because nothing has changed. Like, the situation in no way in the last calendar year about now, nothing has changed. Rice said he did it right from the beginning. He immediately, and it, by all accounts, it has changed his life in a positive way, and that's what you hope for. Not that that's going to matter to the NFL's suspension decision, but in general terms, you like to see that, right? But he admitted it right away. He was guilty right away. Like, all of the things, nothing that, at least that I know of, changed that would have changed what the league initially had set up here in the information. It's not like they're still in an information gathering stage. Nothing's changed. So whatever they had teed up, if they had anything teed up at all, should be able to just roll right out there. That's what I can't figure out. Like, this, it'd be different if this had just happened and they got a ruling and now they have to have their time to go and investigate. They've already had all that time. I'm pretty sure they've already done all that stuff. So that's that's why I can't figure out, like, what is taking so long? The information is the same it has been for 12 months. We just didn't know when the court was going to rule or what could change in that process. But from what I recall, maybe you remember something different. I don't think anything changed from the initial, like, admission of guilt and all of that. I don't think anything changed circumstantially in this.
No, I don't think anything did. There's really not a whole lot of explanation. It's literally just, you're at the mercy of the NFL and their disciplinary process. And when they make those decisions, at that point, yeah, like, the Chiefs can move forward. But until then, and I wouldn't be shocked if they've gotten indications from the NFL as to what that's going to look like. And maybe it just hasn't been made public yet at this point. That wouldn't surprise me if there have been some backroom talks and maybe a little bit of negotiation between the franchise and the NFL about, how many games and that sort of thing.
There better not be.
Well, I don't know. I mean, nobody will know that. Like, that's all behind the scenes. I wouldn't surprise me if the Chiefs kind of have a general idea on what they're looking at this point. Maybe. It just hasn't been made public.
Maybe. The way teams overreact and react sometimes to the suspensions, I always do wonder that, like, how much a part of that process have they been? Another NFL storyline we've been following because it's impossible not to. Micah Parsons, you with me now that the Cowboys need to trade him after the novel?
I mean, sure, yeah,
he's
but
always emotional drama.
Jerry's not going to do it. Jerry came out and said, it's part of the negotiation, and they're not going to trade Parsons.
Here's what drives me nuts about it. And I love Micah Parsons, the player, and he's fine as a person, but you're on a rookie. He went out on social. You remember when Tennessee's quarterback did the late poll? I'm pretty sure Parsons felt the need to chime in on that and loyalty and why can't you play out your contract? You're under contract, dude. Like, you have a contract to play for $24 million this year. Play the contract out. I like, either hold out because it's the business decision and just sit there and be quiet about it. Like, if you're gonna do all this, you have a contract right now. Either
I don't disagree with you as far as that's concerned. I do think it's unfair that he's had to take shots from the Joneses. Like, why? Why he didn't ask for it. Like, he's catching strays.
He's not catching strays. No, sure. It's not. It is not strays with him. He's always got something to say, and he says it publicly. They're not strays. They're not. It's not like they weren't in the middle of this back and forth, and all of a sudden this happened. No, it's Jerry because he's asked about it because of something usually that, like, Parsons said or did or is disgruntled about or rumbling about in the locker room. That's why it keeps going. He can't just sit there and let it be negotiated out. He's choosing to do it this way. That's his choice. That's fine. But the Cowboys should trade him.
They're not going to.
It's just like, it's to the point here where unless teams aren't willing to give up enough to trade him, like, they shouldn't trade him for a bad trade package. But I highly doubt it's going to be a bad trade package. It's just like, they're just not a good fit. You can't have, like, Jones always has to be the loudest and at most times most obnoxious voice in the room. And if it's not, like, it doesn't really work out very well. Like, it's just not a good fit. I don't just trade him.
Yeah, Jerry's not trading him. Jerry won't trade him
in here. Yeah, Jerry, I mean, he's totally downplayed it. He's totally downplayed it and told people in the offseason, don't worry about it. Like, you don't need to pay any attention to that. And it's just like, God, like, why can't you two just sit down and, like, you're either worth it or you're not? It just blows my mind. God, let's keep us entertained, I suppose. But yeah, he is under contract. Micah Parsons. He's not playing for free this year. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, Jaylon Thompson rejoins and we'll talk some Royals on the other side.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, flooding. It's the worst of severe weather, and it's coming. Spring brings warmer temperatures, but also dangerous weather conditions. Stay up to date day or night with the Storm Team 12 weather app. You'll get accurate forecasts, so you can plan ahead and stay safe, no matter the weather. Download the Storm Team 12 weather app, brought to you by Stutzman's Greenhouse.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
This is Rich Eisen. Check out The Rich Eisen Show, 11 until 2 on Wichita's #1 sports station, Kansas Fan Headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Odyssey is one of the most influential audio and entertainment brands in the nation. You already know Odyssey's iconic local radio brands in Wichita. But did you know Odyssey has the country's best collection of music, news, and sports brands? Odyssey is also a premium podcast creator, major event producer, and digital innovator. Odyssey brings people together across the country and right here in Wichita. Odyssey also delivers meaningful radio and digital audio results. Find out our story and impact at odysseyinc.com/Wichita.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
With the teams you follow, it's another Sports Daily Insider interview on KFH.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily here on KFH, and we are glad to be joined by our Royals insider, Jaylon Thompson. Jaylon, another series win. That's just, that's the goal, right? Just keep winning these series against the Blue Jays this last time, one of the best in baseball. I'm not so sure this Red Sox series doesn't line up for them worse and might be more difficult because of the pitching they'll face. But what was your big takeaways from the weekend?
I thought that the Royals, Jacob, they won a game that they probably shouldn't have won yesterday. When you look at how that game unfolded, they were down pretty much to one hit until the 8th inning, and then somehow they scored 7 runs out of that and win the game. So I think that in the case of the Royals, just their ability to come back and score the amount of runs that they scored and break the game open, and Tyler Tolbert coming through with a big hit in extra innings. Kyle Isbell continuing to produce in the ninth spot. That was his third double that he had that series from that spot, and it was the way that they competed. I thought that this is the Royals team that many fans have fell in love with in 2024, and if they continue on that stretch, they can potentially climb up that American League wildcard standings. But this series against the Red Sox is the biggest game of the bunch because the Red Sox are in the playoff hunt. You need a sweep to get the tiebreaker, which could be important down at the end of the season. But in reality, taking 2 out of 3 here has to be the goal for the Royals.
To your point, Jaylon, it wasn't that long ago that this Royals team, especially offensively, if they had any kind of deficit whatsoever, if they were down even 1 run in the later innings, that almost felt insurmountable, that the team was not going to be able to get anything going, especially if it was in a clutch situation to potentially tie a game or take a lead. Yesterday's game, they were able to do that. They found themselves down 2-1 late in the game, top of the 8th. It was a Bobby Witt Jr. double and then a Vinny Pasquantino RBI to tie the game. That got them to extra innings, and then, of course, they were able to break it open and win the game in the 10th. But that seems like, it's a different Royals than we've become accustomed to, at least over the last couple of months, because they've actually been able to be a little bit more clutch in later innings and get right back into a game.
Yeah, Tommy, I definitely agree with that. And I think that a lot of it has to do with who they brought in. It won't be, you won't see it in the stat sheet. You won't find it anywhere when you're looking at the Royals top to bottom. But getting guys like Adam Frazier and Randall Grichuk and Mike Yastrzemski into that bench, into the lineup, those guys are professional hitters. They know how to come through when the game is needed and is close and have those big hits and have those big moments. And I think earlier this season, you saw a lot of the Royals lineup was focused on guys that really weren't equipped to be in those situations and those moments. And no, Drew Waters was a great player. He's going to be a great player for the Royals moving forward, but he just wasn't ready yet to step into that spot. MJ Melendez has struggled all year. He wasn't ready to step into that spot. They might need him against the Red Sox because he just crushes the Red Sox, but he won't be available for this series. But I just think that the veteran experience that they got off the bench in that lineup, now it just makes everything come together. And I think the Royals can get on a roll if they just continue to play like they've been playing.
I think they kind of are on a roll. Especially with the offense, we talked about it. It felt, Jaylon, like there was a point in this season where if they were down 2-1 in a game like that, it felt absolutely insurmountable. I think we've graduated beyond that. Just like they're at least now consistent enough in the offense where that hopeless feeling that it felt for so much of this season appears to be gone.
Yes, I think you're definitely right, Jacob, to that point. And here's one thing that a lot of people haven't been talking about, but it's definitely going to be coming. We haven't seen the Bobby Witt Jr. just break out, go crazy bananas like he did in July of last year. That hasn't come yet. If that comes within the next few weeks of the season, then this Royals team just goes to another level because we've seen it before. When Bobby Witt Jr. truly gets hot and starts hitting the home runs and he adds that in with the doubles and stolen bases and the great defense that he's been doing. If he can just get on one of those heaters that he's been on, this Royals team will skyrocket. And I think that's just the underlying thing, like that's just been waiting in the wings that we haven't necessarily saw yet. We've seen Salvi get on the hot streak. We've seen Vinny get on the hot streak. Michael Garcia. But we haven't seen Bobby be that guy that was the MVP runner-up last season. If he gets to that level at some point within these next 8 weeks, then the Royals will have something cooking for sure.
We got to talk bullpen a little bit, Jaylon. Steven Cruz left the game over the weekend with a shoulder injury. He's on the 15-day IL, but the Royals do get reinforcements back. Obviously, we know Hunter Harvey's been back for a while, but Daniel Lynch has made his return back to the team, and he looked pretty solid on Sunday's game. Knowing that you've got more depth in the back end of the bullpen, how do you feel about the way that bullpen is now structured and put together?
I think that if we're looking at what the Royals have. They want to have Hunter Harvey be back into that role where he's a high leverage guy because that's what they acquired him for. That's what they traded for him for. So I could see him slotting in between that 7th, 8th inning role right in front of Carlos Estevez. And I think you will allow Lucas Ursay to go back to what they intended him to do earlier this season, which is to be a fireman and come in whenever he's needed against the best of the best from the opposing team at the plate. We just haven't seen that because they've been injured, right? But now they're getting back to full stream. I think you'll see some combination of John Schreiber, Angel Zerpa to come in to relieve the starters whenever they go 5, 6, or 7, and depends on the matchup. Schreiber is more of a ground ball pitcher. Zerpa can come in and get those tough lefties out. I think that you will see Urseg be, like I said, in the fireman role, and then that back end is going to be more than likely Hunter Harvey, and maybe you throw a Daniel Lynch if you need him in there to also get those lefties out if it's later in the game and Zerpa's been used already. But I think they have a nice mix in that bullpen. But you really hope they even get Steven Cruz back as well because he's been so great this year.
But they get Lynch back. I thought Lynch looked good yesterday. Yeah. It's so interesting with him because we wondered before they made the trades for Falter and all the starters there, was Lynch going to get stretched out? Well, now they definitely don't need him to. He's been as good as any reliever they have all year, and it gives them another lefty. Do you think he's one of those high leverage guys too? If you just go and look at what they did yesterday with those 5 guys, you didn't even have to roll the dice with Zerpa. That was 5 innings. Like, those are all potentially setup guys. I don't know. I think this immediately becomes the strength of this team, almost like it was in 14 and 15.
Yeah, the bullpen, it definitely is a strong unit, and Matt Quatrell was very quick to say that yesterday, saying that if it was the bullpen that kept them in the game, and that's a very true statement because if you look at Seth Lugo wasn't his efficient self yesterday. It's just one of those games where it's you can't really knock Seth Lugo because he wasn't efficient, but he still only gave up 2 runs and gave you a chance to win the game, which is the mark of a great veteran. So absolutely kudos to him for that. But the bullpen absolutely was rock solid. And I think that they have to be more rock solid. And Hunter Harvey might have the best stuff out of everyone in that bullpen right now. I mean, he's touching 99, 100 miles per hour. And as long as he can feel healthy and stay the course the rest of the year, that's a nice weapon to have because you're going to need that against these top teams. And they've proven it. The Blue Jays are not a slouch team. They're one of the best teams in the American League. And the Royals took 2 out of 3 in Toronto, which at the Rogers Center is not an easy place to play. So I think the Royals should definitely commend themselves for doing that. And like you said, the offense is clicking, the bullpen's clicking. This could be a good turn for the Royals if they want to make that push towards the playoffs.
Well, we got to look at the Red Sox series that starts tonight, Jaylon. We're going to get our first look tonight at Bailey Falter, and then tomorrow night, our first look at Ryan Bergert on the bump for the Royals. I feel like tonight's game is a must-win if they want to try to take 2 of 3 and win that series. In game number 2, Garrett Crochet is looming for the Red Sox. He's been lights out all season long. And I know Bello's been really good for the Red Sox this season, but you got to feel like with Falter's debut for the Royals and the way he's pitched this year, tonight's game is as much of a must-win if they want a chance to take 2 of 3 as you possibly can get.
I totally agree, Tommy. I think that you have to win tonight because you have the momentum on your side. You just rolled through the Toronto Blue Jays. And took the 2 out of 3 games, right? You're riding off that high momentum that you have. You got to use it to your advantage. The Red Sox are not a team that's just going to roll over. They can hit the baseball and they have great pitching, like you mentioned. So if I'm the Royals, like you said, I think you got to get game 1, and then you hopefully can try to get game 2 before you face Crochet in game 3. But you have to come out here with a series win. You can't anything other than that, and you're falling down the wild card standings. You got to come out and you got to play like this is a playoff series because technically it really is. Because you have this one, and then you have Minnesota, and Minnesota has sold off most of their team with trades at the trade deadline. So you get 2 out of 3 here, and you can get 2 out of 3 against Minnesota. You've had a great road trip.
I don't. Minnesota, it needs to become a sweep, but this Red Sox series, just win another series. It's gonna be tough. These pitchers are good. Jaylon, what you got cooking for us here ahead of tonight's game?
Before this game, I'm looking. I did a story that I think probably posted earlier today, just about the importance of the tiebreaker and what to look out for as this Red Sox series comes to pass. Because with the way these teams are situated in the wild card, you got to win every tiebreaker that you can get between these teams, because that's going to differentiate you between being one of those 3 teams that go to the wild card and one of those teams that aren't in the wild card. So that's the big story, and a Bailey Falter story probably tonight as well.
Okay, that's why we got you. I had no idea about the wild card component. Jaylon, we appreciate it. Follow all his work at Jaylon Thompson on X, at the KC Star. See if we can get another one, Jaylon. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys so much. See you soon.
There goes Jaylon Thompson. Man, what a time. I was talking to some guys this weekend, Tommy, and it was just, everyone's kind of buzzing about the Royals right now. And it was like, we just need the Royals for one more month, right, to get us to football season. But it's got a chance to be more than that. I mean, it's that at minimum. Let's be real. Like, it is that. We all need the Royals to get us through another month. But they've got the pieces to do this, and enough time that everything, they have enough time at 3.5 games back. My one thing is, all the teams around them also got better. They all got better. Everybody got a little better. The Royals did too, but I think the Royals had more room to come up to what they should be. Hopefully that's enough, and hopefully that's a difference. 3.5 games, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I feel a lot more confident about their rotation, obviously, with the guys that they went and acquired at the deadline. And we're going to get our first look at a couple of those guys in the next 2 nights. And, we'll see if they can deliver the way that they had been with their former teams. That's going to be extremely important down the stretch for Kansas City.
It turns upside down. Now I really do think we're going to see the end of games with this bullpen is where the Royals are going to make their hay. They're going to keep it close, and they're going to come back and win games. I think we'll see. That's a big ask for the way we've seen this team play this year. We got a little more Sports Daily. Stick around. We'll be right back.